all the James Bond movies ranked worst to first. With the upcoming release of No Time to Die, we thought some of you might like to catch up on your Bond, James Bond. A little 007 movie marathon before watching the latest film. And if you have time to watch 24 or 26 movies, good for you. But if, like us, you have jobs and wives and girlfriends, which we try very hard to keep separate from one another, you probably don't have time to watch 53 plus hours worth of movies before April 10th. So we've taken the time to rank them for you. Well, technically Rotten Tomatoes users rank them, but we put them in order and then made this video for you, which you'll definitely want to watch till the end since it gets better as it goes. A quick side note, there are 24 official James Bond movies, but 2 others that aren't canon. So the list starts with number 26, Casino Royale, 1967. The worst on our list is one of those non-canon movies I mentioned just a few seconds ago. This made-for-TV spoof stars David Niven as James Bond, with Peter Sellers and Orson Welles as co-stars. That's some legit star power, which is what makes the 26% it got on the tomato meter kind of shocking. Number 25, A View to a Kill, 1985. Roger Moore's last installment of Bond had a great theme song, but horrible ratings. Time magazine called it exhausted and exhausting, an old joke retold once too often, 36%. Number 24, Octopussy, 1983. With a 41% tomato meter score, one Rotten Tomatoes user says it has to be one of the worst Bonds ever, adding, "Why Roger Moore got to make so many Bond films is beyond me." Number 23, The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974. Another Roger Moore edition at the bottom of the pile. Not looking good for Sir Roger. Maybe more gadgets would have helped, or less double entendre, or dare we say less Roger Moore, 44%. Number 22, The World Is Not Enough, 1999. Pierce Brosnan must resolve a potentially deadly power struggle between 2 unstable nations, with control of the world's oil supply as the ultimate prize. With a 52% tomato meter rating, critics were about half and half. The Seattle Times says, "The action sequences are decent, but they just aren't as clever as before." The Cleveland Plain Dealer, meanwhile, says, "Bond shoots people, has sex, and saves the world." So that's good, right? Number 21, Die Another Day, 2002, 57%. Pierce Brosnan is pretty much everywhere as James Bond in this film. North Korea, South Korea, Hong Kong, Cuba, of course London, and Iceland? Yeah, Iceland. Oh, and Halle Berry co-stars, 57%. Number 20, Tomorrow Never Dies, 1997. This is our 3rd Brosnan in a row in a fairly standard James Bond flick. Maybe a little formulaic, but fun with lots of boom, also 57%. Number 19, Moonraker, 1979. Can you smell that? It's fresh. The first Bond movie on our list above 60%. This Roger Moore edition has a pretty crazy plot, but what it's probably most remembered for is Richard Kiel as Jaws. Those teeth are pretty crazy, yo. Number 18, Spectre, 2015. This is the first Daniel Craig edition on our list, and the most recent Bond released. Screen Anarchy sums it up. Spectre, however, falls well short of that high mark, and as great as some of its moments are, it actually might be the weakest of the Daniel Craig Bond movies, 63%. Number 17, Quantum of Solace, 2008, another Daniel Craig rendition. Quantum of Solace has 65% fresh rating. Time Out says, "Much has been made of the absence of Bond's signature quips, but there's something else that's absent, interest." Ouch. Number 16, Diamonds Are Forever, 1971. Great stunts, witty dialogue, and hello, Sean Connery, 66%. Number 15, Live and Let Die, 1973. Roger Moore's first appearance as Bond. 007 is dispatched to the US to stem the activities of Mr. Big, who plans to take over the Western Hemisphere by converting everyone into heroin addicts. Jane Seymour's movie debut. And of course, the iconic title song by Paul McCartney, also 66%. Number 14, Never Say Never Again, 1983. This is the second of the 2 unofficial movies. Yeah, it's Connery as Bond, but this is actually in the middle of the Roger Moore years, and it's definitely considered non-canon. It's actually a remake of 1965's Thunderball, and the film's title is a reference to Connery, who once said he would never play James Bond again. 67%. Number 13, For Your Eyes Only, 1981. Trades in some of the outlandish Bond staples for a more sober outing, and the results are a satisfying adventure, albeit without some of the bombastic thrills fans may have been looking for. 71%. Number 12, The Living Daylights, 1987. Newcomer Timothy Dalton plays James Bond with a little more gravitas than Roger Moore brought to the table. 007 battles drug smugglers, international mercenaries, arms dealers, and a beautiful markswoman. 72%. Number 11, You Only Live Twice, 1967. Sean Connery as Bond battles Spectre, who have been gathering Russian and American spacecrafts in a diabolical plan to begin World War III. 73%. Number 10, License to Kill, 1989. License to Kill is darker than many of the pre-Daniel Craig Bond movies. Timothy Dalton plays with intensity, but that doesn't mean there aren't some solid chases and fight scenes. Certified fresh at 76%. Number 9, GOLDENEYE, 1995. The first and best Pierce Brosnan Bond film, and the James Bond that was made into more video games than any other. A beautiful Russian mobster and an evil general take over a space weapons control station and arm an attack. Sean Bean co-stars. 78%. Number 8, The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977. Roger Moore's first foray with Jaws, as played by Richard Kiel. 79%. Number 7, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969. James Bond without Sean Connery? Can this even be possible? But George Lazenby's only appearance as 007 was actually pretty darn good, with breathtaking visuals and some great ski chases. 80%. Number 6, Thunderball, 1965. Thunderball finds James Bond matching wits with the sinister espionage organization Spectre, which stands for Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge, and Extortion. We'll hear a lot more about Spectre over the years. 88%. Okay, 21 down, 5 to go. And at number 5 is Skyfall, 2012. Daniel Craig's third appearance as James Bond has Bond's loyalty to M tested as her past comes back to haunt her. As MI6 comes under attack, 007 must track down and destroy the threat, no matter how personal the cost. The Lexington, North Carolina Dispatch called it a hugely entertaining adventure that takes Bond into previously uncharted territory, giving us everything we've come to expect from 007 films and more. 92%. Number 4, From Russia with Love, 1964. Connery once again excelled and was well supported by a great cast, including Robert Shaw, wonderfully menacing as a brutal killer. 95%. Number 3, Dr. No, 1962. This one's got action, humor, and all sorts of thrills as James Bond's investigation of a missing colleague in Jamaica leads him to the island of the mysterious Dr. No and a scheme to end the US space program. 95%. Number 2, Casino Royale, 2006. This film introduced us to Daniel Craig as 007. While people weren't sure if they could deal with the idea of James Blonde, the 95% tomato meter rating says they got over it. Roger Ebert said, Casino Royale has the answers to all of my complaints about the 45-year-old James Bond series, and some I haven't even thought of. Also 95%. And the number 1 James Bond movie so far, as determined by critics on Rotten Tomatoes, is Goldfinger, 1964. The third Bond ever is where we first hear his most famous line,
"A martini, shaken not stirred."
We also get to see a whole lot of spy gadgets, for which the series ends up being known for. Empire magazine calls it perfection. At 97%, it is certainly close. So that brings us to the end of our list. What do you think? And where do you think No Time to Die will fit in there? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.